Yeah, well, we just spent a whole hour basically talking about Wiseman, but before he was picked, and now that he's picked, we can actually just exhale and kind of get that sigh of relief. But from your perspective, actually seeing this young man work so hard to get to this franchise, what did you see in him, and what do you love about this?
I've been blessed to work with a lot of players, everyone from, LeBron to D-Wade to CP, down the list. And this kid has that same mentality. He's, in my opinion, a future Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Rookie of the Year. He has a work ethic that I haven't seen in a lot of players in a very long time. I spent the last 5 months with this kid, and to try to get this kid to take a day off was it was virtually impossible. He wants to be one of the greats. And usually during this kind of era of social media and other things, kids kind of do things just for Instagram or TikTok. This kid wants no part of that. He just wants to grind out and be one of the best.
That sounds great, man. I'm about to tear up just hearing that. Let's go Warriors. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm excited. I'm really excited, especially he fits so well in terms of off the court personality. He's going to fit right in with like Steph and Klay and really everybody else. Even behind closed doors, Draymond is pretty, not as fiery as he is on the court. And Steve Kerr and, Wiseman just looks like he wants to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a real, I think the thing that, really intrigued me the most about him was the questions he asked. Every day he wanted to learn. He wanted to find ways to get better. If I saw things in him that he can improve upon, whether it was on the court, off the court, he just is, he's a real humbled kid. He's real quiet. Of course, when he gets between those lines, he becomes a killer. But he's got a personality that you just don't see out of a lot of these young kids getting into the NBA. It's going to make him special.
Hi, David. I just wanted to ask, everyone in the draft has had a really long time to prepare for the draft, since the pandemic and whatnot. But Wiseman has had a longer time because he only played 3 games in the NCAA. So during that time, what were the points of improvement that you worked on with him? And how has he been doing in those areas so far?
Yeah, I think the thing that, his on-court coach, Andrew at Miami Hoop School, and myself, as well as his agency, we did a really good job at just peaking him perfectly. We knew it was going to be a long road. We didn't want to grind him out too early. We really wanted to focus on certain things each week, each month, because we knew what this progression was going to be. So we wanted to make sure we took a really intelligent approach. So on the court, Andrew perfected everything he needed to do, whether it was inside the paint or his shot. You don't see a lot of kids 7'1" that can shoot it like this kid. As far as on his body, it was just getting his nutrition on point, getting his sleep on point, letting him understand that everything he does has a ramification to his body and his outcome during his craft. And those are the things he really took the notes on. He made huge changes to his nutrition. If you've ever been to my social media and you look at the before and afters of them, it's night and day.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the kid got in phenomenal shape, but, we really focus on his mechanics. We focus on with a lot of bigs, they tend to be injury prone. If you look at guys like Joel Embiid and down the road, that was kind of something we really wanted to focus on. Was we didn't really need to make him that much bigger or stronger. We needed to make him function at a higher level. So we wanted to make sure that he's going to be able to play 82 games at a high level. He's already as strong as an ox. The kid's pushing near 250 pounds. He's around 5% body fat. So, he's a big kid. I saw somewhere they had him at 230. We kind of laughed at that because someone's scale wasn't calibrated. But, right before I weighed him out, he was floating right around, I think, 246.
Wow.
So one of the questions that I had going into is, okay, when this guy is plugged into this team with all this shooting and all these moving pieces with the Warriors motion offense, how legit is his passing to you?
You know what? I don't know if you guys know who Shane Larkin is.
Absolutely,
Larkin,
yeah.
Okay, so Shane Larkin, in my opinion, is just one of the truest point guards. Shane spent a lot of time. He also works with Miami Hoop School. So does Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalil Okafor, and a couple other guys I work with. And they said they've never seen anything like it. When I asked, I said, who does he remind you of? Does he remind you of the KD? Does he remind you of a Kevin Garnett? And they were like, man, I've never seen anyone handle it or pass it like this kid. So I think, I leave my basketball criticism to the people that know it better than I focus more on the strength room and the biomechanics portion. But from some of the best people I know down here in Miami that are working with them, they said they've never seen anyone move the ball around like this kid.
a giant freak kid with brilliant passing. Sign me up all day. Okay, I'm with it.
Yeah, man.
Hey, David, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I think you said you're from San Francisco, and then also how you started working with James.
Yeah. I actually grew up in the Bay Area. I grew up in Marin County. I lived in San Francisco for a long time. I went to school down in San Diego. I migrated out to Miami in about 2005, and I've been out here since. I have a great relationship with XL Sports, who's James' agency. So once they signed, Jeff Schwartz reached out to me and asked if I would take this on. I did a little research. I saw who the kid was, and it was a no-brainer for me. He was someone I really wanted to work with. I'm at a point in my career, I'm very blessed to work with some great players. So I pick and choose who I work with. It's got to be a good fit. And for me, I'm not going to take an athlete on unless they're dead serious about becoming a better athlete. And he was that kid. The first day I met him, he became like a little brother. You know, he comes from a great family. His mom, his sister, his morals, his integrity. You'll see as he starts to peel back the layers and starts to get in the spotlight a little bit, people are going to really see the personality of this kid. And he's a Bay Area kid. And it's funny because when he was asking me, he said, "Where would you want me to go?" I said, "The Bay Area." And he said, "Well, why?" And I said, "You just have that personality. You're going to blend in perfect up there." I said, "It's a real place. They're real fans. They'll love you when you win. They'll love you when you lose." I said, I honestly believe that's going to be the best fit for you. So I was literally lighting candles every night that this kid was going to end up there. I just think it's going to be great for his career. And then to have a true point guard like Steph Curry, and we hope Klay's okay. I think we all saw that he had an injury today. So having a guy like Klay and then having a guy like Draymond, I think is so important for him because James has that dog in him. And I want Draymond to pull that out in him. And so I think that's going to be great. He's going to have, he has every facet he needs. And then having a coach like Steve, of course, I just think it's a perfect fit.
Hey, and how about Sean Livingston? He's with Excel. He was with Jeff Schwartz, wasn't he?
I think he was. Yeah. Yeah. He works with another great guy down here in South Florida. I can't remember his name, but I never worked with Sean personally.
Oh, so did Sean go out to Miami to go look at Wiseman for those workouts?
I don't recall. I wasn't on the court too often with him. So, like I said, Andrew from Miami Hoop School was the one who kind of saw that. If Sean saw him, he might have. I know when Golden State came in, there were several people there, but we kind of call that under wraps.
Of course. Makes sense. So I guess you're saying that when you're describing him, like with the height and the physicality, as far as physical attributes come to mind, I'm thinking like David Robinson type. Do you think that's kind of accurate there?
Yeah. I put him right there. I definitely think he models his game a little after D. Robinson and Anthony Davis. I'm biased, but I think the kid's going to surpass both of them.
Dang.
I've worked with a lot of special talent, this kid. And I think, you know what?
I like it.
I can honestly say I think Minnesota is going to be kicking themselves that they slept on this kid.
Wouldn't be the first time Minnesota's kicked themselves over passing on a pick one to the Warriors.
Yeah.
So Wiseman's going to be better than Cat.
Oh, that I can't wait to see. Wiseman versus Cat be box office.
Yeah, it's good. I can't wait to see him and Steph.
Coming from the Bay Area, you know what it's like as a Warriors fan watching year after year the Warriors looking for that one big guy, that one center who could just block all the shots and get all the dunks. After Chris Webber, it was kind of like we had Dampier, Foyle, Fuller, and I went to all their local basketball camps in like Hayward and Oakland and stuff like that. So they were heroes to me. But looking back on it, there's some issues there at the 5 position that Warriors fans have been pining for. It's awesome to hear you talking with such glowing confidence about Wiseman because it sounds like finally we have that guy. The fact that we won 3 titles with Bogut, who was an all-star, but at the time he was injured. We had JaVale McGee, David West. None of those guys were considered like in their prime killers. They just worked really well with the team. They're great players for us. But Wiseman's like an actual prospect that people salivated over. So for him to come to us, it's like, man, a dream come true.
Yeah, and that's I think the thing is, he's a 5 that can move around like a 1 and a 2. That's the craziest thing about it. And so I think because he's going to have a Steph and a Klay and people that he can play off the ball and do all that, I don't see a lot of people getting in the paint around this kid. He's so freakishly athletic. It's nuts. Like I said, if you've ever been to my social media, I've posted a lot of stuff on this kid. And he's a freak of nature. And he's worked out with some of the great, I had him working out even at some point. He was in with some of my NFL players. So he was working out with guys like Melvin Ingram, DJ Swear. Yeah, so he was working out with some monsters.
Big dudes.
And James was right there. You know, he was right there with them. And so even like on some days he was on the track, you know, with Tim Hardaway Jr. and, you know, we have Donovan Mitchell in there now. So it's like he's been working out around some real guys.
Wow. So his ability to move in space and change directions, how do you like that?
Unbelievable, man. That was one of the big things me personally I focused on when I sat with them. You know, I think the kid wears like a size 17 or something. It's nuts. So I spent a lot of time working on his footwork because, you know, I work with a lot of defensive backs. Like, you know, I train guys like Bradley Roby and AJ Boye. And to me, I think the cornerbacks are the most athletic people on the planet. So when I sat with James, I said, I want to get your footwork like a DB. So I said, because if I can get moving like a cornerback and you're a center, it's going to be unparalleled to what anyone can do. So we spent a lot of time doing a lot of agility, a lot of cognitive training. And so he progressed really nicely through that. So that was a focus. I wasn't concerned with getting him huge because he's already such a big kid. It was like, hey, can I get your feet moving like a Steph? Can I get your feet moving like a Kyrie? Because if I can do that at 7 feet 1, 250 pounds, we're going to have a scary center.
I mean, that's super scary. I mean, how many times do you see big guys who are trying to, you know, mirror the small guards and, you know, backing up and going forward and getting their ankles broken because, hey, they're 7 feet, they're giants. To have a guy that big who can control that much space and quickness is a dream come true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, this is Eric Apricot, and I really appreciate, David, your trainer's eye view of things. I did see some people criticizing James for kind of taking time to load up on his jumps. Is that something that you've noticed at all?
No, you know, listen, I think a lot of times, like anything, you're going to have untrained critics they got to find something, right? I can put James's plyometrics ability against some of the best guards. If you line up film, give me 10 point cards and give me James, I can show you 10 ways that James can be better than him. He doesn't load up. I think what he was getting better at was the timing of things. He was so reactive and so explosive. Sometimes he was getting out in front of things. So that was something we started to work on and control.
Yeah, so
David,
go ahead, sorry.
David, how about his passing? As you know, the Warriors love their passing big man, so they might count on him being on that low post, finding people off cuts, weak side, or the split, or even if on a pick and roll, if Steph gets blitzed, they might look to him for the short roll. So how have you been working on his passing ability?
So we did a lot of cognitive training. So we used tools like the fit lights where it's a bunch of reactive training. So we would put him in a circle of about 5 different lights that light up with colors. And there's about 1 second to a half a second between things. And he has to be able to react to those things. He was a 10 out of 10 every time. So those keep track. So if he has a miss or if a light goes off and he wasn't able to react to it, it gives me data and metrics that I can sit and present to him and go, okay, listen, on the 5th one, you missed one over there in the corner. So we did a lot of cognitive work with him. And towards the end, I mean, he doesn't miss anything. He's very, very good at reacting and he's very quick.
Sounds like the Warriors are about to go undefeated, man. What are you talking? Sounds like they're about to go 72 games in a row.
Listen, man, you would hope so, right? I just can't say that to my other players I train.
So my question is, now would you have him at the number 2 spot? I know from some guys going number 1 is like really, really important. Other guys like, I don't care, just give me a team. Was he like really into the whole idea of being number 1, or the idea of going to the Warriors was more tantalizing for him?
Yeah, you know what? I know for him, it didn't matter. He was honestly excited to just get to the NBA. I know he was definitely excited about Golden State. Okay. Here's a funny story, and I think he might post it because we talked about it. One of the first days he walked in the train, he had how old are you?
How old am I? 32.
Okay, so I'm 44. So I've been all the way back to the Chris Mullin days and things like that. So he had a Warrior shirt on from those days. And I was like, hey, man, I think this is a sign. This was literally 6 months ago. He's like, you know what? If I get drafted by them, I'm going to do a post on this.
Oh, tight. Okay.
That was pretty cool, man. So with that being said, I know he was super excited about the thought of Golden State. Especially because just the caliber of championships that they've been able to build, the players they have, just them as an organization overall. I don't want to speak for him, but just in personal conversations, I know he was really hyped on that organization.
That's great, man. I remember a time, I'm sure you do, where that wasn't the case. People were like, "Don't let it go to the Warriors."
We had a tough run, but they're back.
Yeah, for sure. So I know this will sound crazy, but you always set the bar pretty high when you said Rookie of the Year, Hall of Famer. Are you for real about the Rookie of the Year thing?
So I have a text message, but I keep my stuff private. One of the goals I sat with them, I said, listen, if I take you on as a client, I'm going to be frank here. I'm like, I don't fuck around. I said, I take this real serious. Once I'm on you, my name's on you. I turned Victor Oladipo into the most improved player. I just worked with Chris Paul for the last year, and this is the first season he never missed a game. Before that, he was injury plagued. I've worked with LeBron. I've worked with D-Wade. We resurrected his career. So, not to kind of flex right there, but it was really important that James understood the magnitude of this. And I said, the one goal I have for you is Rookie of the Year. And I said, I need you to go out there, and everyone else that thinks they're above you, I need you to go out and show them what we worked over the last 5 years. And 5 months. And towards the end, I saw him and I said, I honestly believe this kid will be a Hall of Famer. I really do. I know that's a high bar, but his work ethic is what's going to separate him from the rest. Anyone can go out and get some points and be good, but to be great, to be a LeBron James or to be one of these guys, it's the work ethic. And he has parallel to some of the greatest players I've trained.
Is there something that Warriors fans can look at in James's first year to kind of see the directions that he's going to be growing in, things that we can look at and say, oh yeah, this guy's on track to be a really, really big star?
Yeah, I think honestly for me, it's going to be his unselfishness. He wants to win and he wants to be a great player, but he understands if you look at a LeBron or you look at these guys, you understand you got to be a role player and it can't be about you going out and trying to get 40 every night. So I think with a James Wiseman type kid, he's going to go out there and do what the Warriors need for him to win. So as long as you see a kid out there that's putting his team in a position to win every night, that's what I would be excited for. The numbers are going to be there. They're going to come. Could the kid go out and go get 30 a night? Absolutely. Could he go get 15, average a double-double in his sleep? But I think, the humbleness and wanting to win more than his own, self success, I think that's what's going to separate him.
Makes sense. I mean, as a fan of the game, obviously you worked with a bunch of great Hall of Fame type guys. Who are you watching for, and who are you rooting for? Maybe outside the Warriors, with those relationships there. Who you got your eye on?
So it's tough, man. When I got in, I grew up a Warriors fan and a 49ers fan and a San Francisco Giants fan. But when I got to doing what I was doing, you kind of start going for your teammates or for your clients. So it was really tough for me because I was actually working with LeBron a little bit on and off when he was battling the Warriors. And so my family didn't talk to me for about 4 years.
It was your fault he was dropping 40-point triple-doubles on us.
Yeah, I'm coming home with Cavaliers gear on, and he was a friend. So, for me, I'm about my players. Donovan Mitchell, I'm going to be all about the Jazz. CP3, I'm going to be all about the Suns. Of course, with James, I'm going to be all about the Warriors. I got Tim Hardaway on the Dallas Mavs. I got a bunch of players. I work with about 15 to 20 NBA guys. So I'm going for all those guys. I'll be a little biased with this kid each night, though. Who
has the best bench press? Or can you say that? No,
yeah, I'm gonna go no comment on that one.
Okay, fair. That's fair. Try to get those inside scoops. Do you feel like Houston has enough to just say, hey, you know what? Try it again. We got 2 MVPs in their primes. Go for it.
I don't think Houston has a shot at winning. They're going to need a lot of pieces. Is that what you're asking me? Is that the question there?
You got right to the bottom of it.
Yeah. Listen, I think even if you keep winning, you don't have enough.
Looking like a true Warriors fan.
A real Warriors fan.
Yeah.
You look at the West, it's like, I look at I'm working with Donovan Mitchell right now, and I look at Utah. Utah would smack them. Now it's like,
yeah.
I think their best chance at winning is when they have Chris Paul. And I'm not biased because I'm a CP guy, but that was their best chance. Had they kept that team together, I think they could have got it done this last year.
Well, why do you think they had that sudden disintegration?
I don't know. I have no idea. It worked out for Chris, so I'm happy. I don't know. CP, he had just had one of his best seasons, and now he
was killing last year. He was killing.
Yeah.
He had fun again, man. I would call him every night, and I was just so hyped to see him enjoy basketball again.
Yeah.
And again, he played a whole season without missing a game. The only game he took off is, at the passing of Kobe Bryant. He just needed a day or two to get his mind right. But that was it. And I'm even more hyped now to see what he does in Phoenix with D-Book. I think they're gonna give it a run, man.
Okay, so my guy Joe here, undercover Phoenix fan since Chris Paul came there. A lot of folks are talking about, Chris Paul always makes his bigs better. Everywhere he goes, his bigs thrive. I would love to see what DeAndre Ayton does with him.
It's funny because I always will I yell at Chris because I'm like, man, just go. He's like, no, man, I got to get everyone else going. Like, if you notice, like, CP doesn't even turn on till the second half. Like, he's all about that first half, getting everyone going, making sure they get their stuff. He's like, I can go get my 20 whenever I need it. I'm like, well, go get 40 because I just like but he's just the most he's a true point guard, man. So it's like, now you talk about D-Book playing off the ball, and you got an unselfish point guard who does not care. He just wants to win. That's one thing about Chris Paul. When I say he's cut from a different cloth, he just wants to win, and he wants to win so bad. So he's going to do whatever it takes.
And
David,
sorry.
David, how many more years do you think Chris Paul can play at a starting point guard?
Listen, I'll be honest, man. I think he has – this is going to sound crazy, guys. I think he has a solid 5 years if he wants it. He's the healthiest he's ever been, knock on wood. If he wants it, he easily has another 5 years.
How old is he now?
Yeah, I think he's only 34.
Okay. Yeah. Steve Nash played till he was 40.
Yeah, Chris can easily do it. I mean, he takes such good care of himself, mentally, physically. His nutrition's on. He has an amazing chef. We built him a home gym. He has, myself or my business partner, Donnie Raymond, always with him. So he has one of us always training him. I mean, he has a very good system around him. We have a phenomenal lady, Ann, our soft tissue lady, that's always with him. So this guy takes care of his body. He's special.
Do you have any, I don't know if you can answer this, but do you have any sense what went wrong between CP3 and Harden? I mean, it seemed like they had such a good team, but
I don't, man. I don't even like asking that stuff because I don't want to know.
I'll tell you what was wrong with him. The Splash Bros getting him every year. That's what happened.
Well, listen, if Chris didn't get hurt that 1 year, I wasn't working with him then. But if he didn't get hurt that 1 year, I think that would have – I think they were up, 3-2 in the series?
They're up 3-2, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might have got you guys.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
But yeah, as far as the personal stuff, I never ask. I'm a trainer. I stay in my lane. All I care about, how's your body, how's your sleep, how's your food, who you get along with. I don't care. I just got to make sure he's able to play at a high level.
Well, he's definitely going to make Booker look good because, the Suns went 8-0 in that bubble run. And it was like, whoa, like, where'd that come from? So with CP, a real basketball mind fueling them, like, I never want to say dark horse contender for a team like that because they're coming from a place where they've been in the playoffs since Charles Barkley was there? No, sorry, Steve Nash. But I'm thinking if you have a situation where you get a Hall of Fame point guard with a stud shooting guard and a stud center, like you're in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. I thought what D-Book and them did in the bubble was unbelievable. I was so hyped. It was so fun to watch.
Yeah, he was killing.
And that's what I'm saying. I think this next season is going to be so exciting. And I'm praying Klay Thompson's okay. Again, they don't know the extent of the injury. With me, right when I saw the report, unfortunately it sucks, but I wasn't surprised. A lot of times when you see someone like Klay who's coming off a non-contact ACL injury, the protocols are usually just to rehab that knee, right? Let's fix that knee. They don't really ever dig into finding out why did the ACL tear, right? That was a non-contact injury. You have to remember that. In doing that, a lot of compensation gets pushed to the right side. So when I saw the report, I was actually talking to a fellow friend a trainer on the phone, and I said, I guarantee it's his right side. I said, whatever happened.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a very common thing. That's 80% of the time. There's just a certain protocol that when an ACL gets torn, you follow the manual. Here's what we do. Here's the PT. Here's the strength routine, and that's that. We don't look at, hey, why was there a non-contact ACL? 80% of the time, it's weak hamstrings, tight quads, glutes that aren't firing. If you look when Klay landed, I watched that video 100 times. He basically, when his foot struck the ground, the translation from his tibia to his femur is just great. The ACL popped. That's a tight quad, weak hamstring. And if you remember, I think he was having calf issues on that side too before.
He was, yeah.
So that was already a weakened extremity. And so, unfortunately, again, we don't know. Maybe he got fucking ran over, and that's what happened.
Right.
But if it was a non-contact, I'm willing to bet the compensations that were pushed to that right side never got addressed, and now this poor guy's down. And I'm praying it's something small, needs a little ice and some hot oil or something, and he can be back. But if it's greater than
question that with that in mind, when you saw KD go down the first time against Houston last year, watching from afar,
I actually tweeted something about that, and by the way, I don't know if you follow me, I'm known as one of the most confrontational trainers because I don't give a shit.
Confrontational trainer.
I call it what it is, and I've been doing this a very long time. I even said if they put KD back out there, he's going to blow his Achilles. And I've had that conversation with multiple people, and I'm fine with saying, because I've said it on my social media. And I'm not saying the Warriors, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying KD as himself should not have gone back out there, because the injury he had going into it, it was a weakened state, and the next ramification to that is a blown Achilles.
So you felt it was a high probability off tops.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Wow. What's your take on that though? They're saying that KD really wanted to go out and play, and the team should have stopped him, saved him from himself. So how do you what's your opinion on that? Should the Warriors have had they should have shut it down? They should have taken control of the situation, or was it something they couldn't control?
I think the Warriors have one of the best medical staffs and training staffs in the league. I know who those people are, and they're phenomenal. You're talking about Kevin Durant trying to win a ring. You're not sitting him down. He's not sitting. Right. You'd have to that guy's going to have to be knocked out. It's not happening. The team has nothing but the player's best interest. They do everything they can. They do great evaluations. They look at the data, and they're not going to put a player out there if they think it's not in his best interest. So I'm going to believe that the Warriors did everything they can to make sure he was in a great state. Maybe KD just said, listen, I'm going out there. Maybe we don't know, right? Maybe they said, hey, we don't want you going out there. We'll never know. You don't know that stuff. But the bottom line is, any athletic trainer or DPT or anything could tell you that if you keep looking at non-contact injuries, right? You look at Kristaps Porzingis, or I can show you 40 different ACLs that are non-contact. Look at the NFL, what's going on right now. Those are
right.
Still
on my fantasy team.
Even Odell Beckham, that was a non-contact. People don't realize if you look at that in slow-mo, when he jumped, that's when the ACL torn it. Then like contact, but Bosa was a contact injury. His foot literally was stuck in the ground, in the turf, and he gets ran over. That's a contact injury. You're not avoiding that. But some of these non-contact injuries, it's sad, man, because it's some of these players, they just don't know the weakened state that their bodies are in. And you can't avoid all injury. You can't, that is sport, but your job as a trainer or an ATC or a DPT is to lower the risk. And you do that through a proper training and proper soft tissue work and nutrition and things like that. So, I feel bad for Klay, but when I saw that pop up, I'm like, man, I have a feeling that's going to be his right side. And then sure enough, that report just came out that it's something on his right extremity. So, sometimes what they'll do is they'll wait for the swelling to go down to, get an accurate MRI or an X-ray or whatever. So 48 hours is the right call. But if it's me, I'm throwing him in there right now. I'd want to know.
Totally, for sure.
And I'll go get a second opinion in 48 hours and redo it again. But,
with the Warriors, as long as they're good by March, that's really the most important thing. But, man, just for the fan base, it's really devastating to get any bad news about Klay at this point, because, the man walks back with a torn ACL to shoot some free throws in the finals. He's a hero.
He's literally one of my favorite players to watch, man. I've never worked with Klay, but he's so exciting. And, to not see him out there last year was just such a bummer. And, of course, Steph. But I love watching Klay Thompson. So, man, I'm sending prayers out, and I hope that guy's okay.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah. I know that we only had you for a limited time, unfortunately, because I'm loving this. This is fantastic news and insight you're giving us. But before you get up out of here, do you have one more message for Dub Nation for this monster we just got, so they can be encouraged and ready for his arrival?
Yeah, in my opinion, I'm biased. I'm the kid's trainer, but I think you got a franchise player coming to the Bay Area. I think he's going to be a guy that you guys are going to be able to build around for years and years and years. Make him feel at home, make him want to stay there. And I think we're going to have a lot of great years for him in Golden State.
You heard it here, folks. David Alexander from the Bay to your hearts, talking about someone he's trained very closely. And we'll be watching very closely ourselves, as long as the Warriors don't train him, which I don't think they will. Seems like they're preset right now. Thank you so much, David, for sitting out with us and give us some extra insight on the injuries as well. We really appreciate you, man. Yeah, good luck, guys. And I look forward to watching everything this year. I'll be out in the Bay a lot for a lot of the games, so I'll definitely link up with you if I'm out there. Sounds good, man. Take care, bro.
Take care.